Welcome to the Underground, the Steel City Underground, the black and gold standard for Pittsburgh Steelers coverage. Now, here's your host, Joe Kuzma and Brian E. Roach.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to another edition of the Steel City Underground podcast. My name is Joe Kuzma, and surprised by his own presence on this programming, my sometimes co-host, A1, Mr. Brian E. Roach. Brian, what's going on, man?
You know, I miss you, man. I miss being able to be a 2-time a week. I want to hang out with you and Zach. I want to have fun with the cool kids. But coming. You know, life is hectic, man. What can I tell you?
Yeah, people were asking about that. Hectic for me, hectic for you. I'm getting into it's spring season, so you got the spring sports coming up. And now I'm going to be coaching like a little under 10-year-old girls soccer team. So like my schedule just keeps getting crazier and crazier. But yes, outside life gets in the way of our fun times here, and we're bringing it back, Brian. Yep. One of our favorite segments we do sometimes more than once each season. Maybe we'll get Zach Adonia in on this too.
Maybe we'll even get the other one that I used to do at some point. I don't know. I got to have time.
No, you must do the mock draft insanity. We've already promised the people. We give the
That's
people.
True.
We give the people what they want.
I'll try and get the scenario. We'll see. Maybe that'll be when we get you, me, Zach, and we'll see if we can get the other Zach. 2 Zachs in one room, man. I don't know.
No, that's just that. No, that's an overload. We're lucky we don't have yet. There's like 1 or 2 others that are out in the Steelers verse, as I'm going to call it now. It's like a multiverse of all of these different platforms, and I've told them, and they all spell their name differently too. That one's like Zach with a K. I think I don't remember. I'm not going to say where he's from. I'll probably get it wrong anyways. But anyways, lots of interactions online. Plus Ryan Lippert, who's over at Blitzalytics. So he's always there doing some podcasting on the draft stuff. Check those guys out, by the way. They really know their stuff. And we'll try and it may be getting too noisy in the room if we get too many of us, but we promise there's something crazy coming. It might be mock draft insanity times 1,000. So, but it is draft season, and we haven't talked enough about draft season, and we like every year to look at mock drafts and mock them. And that's exactly what we're going to do today. So we got
mock the mocks.
Let's start right now. And I don't know if I'm breaking any rules or anything. I'm not going to say probably everything that's in every one of these mock drafts, but I happen to get some of the ESPN Plus exclusive premium content here, so that's right. We may have a little bit of Mel Kiper dashed in on this show, but ESPN, this first one, Jordan Reed and Matt Miller. This was a quarterbacks only 7-round mock drafts, and I'd be shocked if somebody doesn't have the Steelers somewhere on here. Of course, they're picking. I'm not the biggest fan of this one. I guess I'd be okay with it, but I feel like first round, and I just totally berated somebody for doing this too, as well. I think it was Dan Orlovsky, and he tweeted out the team that drafts Desmond Ritter is drafting an Alex Smith type of player, best pre-snap to post-snap operator in this class. If I were the Panthers, Steelers, or Falcons, I would try to trade back and get him. So he's saying that maybe you could get him beyond pick 20 where the Steelers are. Obviously, the Falcons and Panthers are picking further ahead in this deal. If you believe somebody's a second-round pick, are you also believing they're good, too? Like, I struggle with that. There's always the exception to the rule. There's first-round picks that just totally blow. The Panthers...
Let me ask you this. Is Alex Smith good?
I mean...
or is he an average quarterback who was serviceable? Was Alex Smith a franchise guy? Or was Alex Smith just a guy who could win games but not get you over the hump?
Ask the San Francisco 49ers that question.
There you go. I mean, that's the answer right there, right? So if you're going to speculate you're getting an Alex Smith type quarterback, then what you're really saying is you're getting a guy who can keep you competitive for a while, maybe if you have eliteness everywhere else, could conceivably get you there, but isn't anywhere in remote consideration of being a true potential franchise quarterback. He's just a guy who's going to be able to start for you, win some games, lose some games, ain't going to be spectacular. Is that the guy you want to draft? Definitely not in the first round.
Yeah, I struggle with this. So we're going to be naming probably these same 5 quarterbacks throughout this entire segment. And, of course, the first one is Desmond Ritter from Cincinnati, who I'm not sure if I'm sold on him being a first round. I mean, everybody goes quarterback crazy. So it's like, if you don't grab the guy you like in the first round, and myself and the professor were just talking about this the other day. I'm not sure if you saw our little chat in the back room on this very tweet, by the way. It's like, this would be Terrell Edmonds all over again. Because if the Steelers don't take Edmonds where they took Edmonds, everybody's like, he
won't make it to them in the second round.
Yeah, he won't get him in the second round. It was the argument we had with Najee Harris or Travis Etienne last year. And the same with, my Angry Runs guy from the Broncos, who's the other running back from North Carolina that came out last year. I've drawn a complete blank today on everything. I need more coffee.
I went to the Broncos, so I don't care.
Yeah, well, he's pretty good pretty good running back too. But that's exactly it. It's like, so and there's value to taking these guys in the first round. I get it. You get a 5th round option. If they end up being good, then you might get to kind of extend them out. You see the Baker Mayfield mess, or you trade someone away like Sam Darnold, and now the Panthers. The Jets went and got somebody else. The Panthers are looking to get somebody else after they go get him. It's crazy stuff, man. I don't know. I don't know how I feel about it. But here's another guy that's on here. Here's a guy like Ritter at 20. I don't know about that. That just seems like a hot take to me.
I think it's too high. Look, I'm a UC guy. You know what I mean? I went to UC. So I'm thrilled that a quarterback from that program is in consideration. Mm-hmm. That program has elevated itself to that point, but no.
Well, the other guy they had going here, by the way, Javonte Williams. Pops into your brain when you it's funny how it works. You know what I mean? I'm watching Good Morning Football and channeling my inner Kyle Brandt for whatever reason. Like, he's been doing a lot. They had Whitney Merciless on, who just retired, so they were doing a No Mercy thing. This is the Cobra Kai shirt I got on under this. I forgot to zip this up, so I may as well acknowledge. But it just made me think of this, because the next pick here is Malik Willis, and you said a guy from UC. How many players from Liberty do you think get drafted? And he started quizzing everyone on like where Liberty is, which I knew, by the way. It's in Virginia. They played in Youngstown many, many years ago. That's how I actually knew that. And they were the Flames, which I didn't know. That's their mascot. But Malik Willis, and I could see the excitement. It looks like the prototype of a lot of these other dudes that are out there running around, throwing the ball, deep ball, et cetera, et cetera. I mean, the talent might be there, and I could sympathize, absolutely, maybe with 20. We're going to see some of these mocks that have some crazy drafts with draft pick, probably worse than your insanity will ever be, and who they take in which spot. But Malik Willis is also on here. Yeah, you're not feeling Malik Willis, are you?
Look, am I feeling Malik Willis? I've said from the get-go, I'm not feeling any of the quarterbacks in this draft in the first round for the Steelers. Now, that being said, if there may be 2 guys in this draft, and no one of them is not Kenny Pickett with his teeny tiny hands. There may be 2 guys in this draft that if they chose to use their first round pick on, I wouldn't be crushed. Malik Willis is one of those 2. And the reason is the upside is definitely there, right? The athleticism, the move to a mobile quarterback who can do multiple things, a guy who is a dual threat, all those things are there. The fact that he's going to sit, because that's what he's going to do. If they draft this guy at 20, he's sitting. Also, I don't know that they can get him at 20. Why? Because everyone is goo-goo crazy for quarterbacks. And if they go, here's the caveat. Very rare that I agree with, our friend the Jagoff. But the biggest mistake they can make in this draft, moving forward to grab a quarterback. Giving up extra capital to go get a guy that I don't think is necessarily worth it, no. I would then be angry. But if he's sitting there at 20 and they like him, I'm not going to yell.
I can't disagree with any of that, to be completely honest. I could see it. I could see like the highlights and the shorts and everything that make you want to do this. I think there's some excitement that comes with this. I mean, obviously, they were talking about small college guys, Trey Lance. They were talking about Carson Wentz. Long ages ago, Steve Air McNair. I mean, there's some quarterbacks. We don't know all of those stories. We know some of them, obviously, with McNair was a very, very good quarterback coming out of Elkhorn. Very small college.
Yep.
But same level as Liberty. But, it's not to say that it can't happen. You find guys wherever you find guys, and that's why I always said it's been great about the NFL. I think if you could play, there's been talk of even could females ever play in the NFL? Trust me, if they can make tackles and make splash plays or whatever, they will. Here's your helmet, here's your shoulder pads. If they will allow dogs to run around on the field and catch a ball with their mouth, the owners will do it. The league will allow it. It's I think a unique process, and there's so many people that get in here. Now there's people who slip through the cracks, but the rest of our ESPN folks all took Malik Willis, every single one of them here. Todd McShay, Mike Tannenbaum, and Mel Kiper. And,
Did they all take him at 20 or did they move?
Yes, they all took him at 20.
Okay.
So it says McShay says all signs pointing toward Pittsburgh drafting a quarterback, which I think could be a smokescreen still. And we'll see if there's some contrarian picks here too, of course. And I'm not looking at whoever else is on the board on some of these because I'm not really going to make fun of Willis, as we just said. But it says there's no rush for Willis to play right away. And Mel Kiper says the same thing. And he says, when I projected him to the Steelers in my previous mock, he's the most talented quarterback in this class. He could compete with Trubisky, Mason Rudolph, Dwayne Haskins in camp, but he wouldn't be under immediate pressure to start in week 1. Well, Mel, you don't live in the Steel City and you're not part of Steelers Nation. There will be immediate pressure to play this guy just because he's the shiny new toy. I mean, James Conner's jersey was one of the hottest selling, if not the hottest selling jersey in the NFL. And Le'Veon Bell was franchise tagged, and Conner got did he even get 50 carries that season?
Yeah.
Just think of how crazy it'll be if it's Kenny Pickett. You get the local guy on top of it.
Oh my goodness.
Either way, it's going to be, there will be pressure there because Ben Roethlisberger's gone, and if you put one of these other guys in, Mitch Mason or Dwayne, if they're still on the team because you draft somebody, they'll have 4 quarterbacks now in the mix, then there'll be pressure on to pull that guy as soon as they make a mistake. And it could be on the second drive, seventh pass attempt in the game.
Here you go. Here's the scenario. Game 1, drive 1, play 1. Whoever the quarterback is throws in a pick. Now there you go. That's it. End of story. The pressure is quarterback controversy. No, got to get Malik in. All these guys stink. It's guaranteed to happen. Guaranteed to happen.
Get Malik in. He doesn't even have a helmet. He's in one of the inactives.
He's inactive. Why didn't they put him in? Should have put him in right away.
There'll be people screaming and yelling. I never understood that. Booing a quarterback. Now at quarterback, Landry Jones, and it's boo, everybody goes all stupid crazy. And they did it to Vic, and they've done it to Mason Rudolph too. They do it to everybody. The only person they didn't do it to is the Duck. And I don't know.
Because it was a great story.
Yes, it is a great story. Absolute great story. We got a handful of CBS Sports folks that are on here. I absolutely despise the way that their website is set up. You got to scroll down, scroll across. Let's see if I scroll down. No, it doesn't keep their name at the top. That sucks. Okay, so, we got the one here. In fact, this was, Josh Edwards. This was just yesterday, actually. He does have the Steelers trading up to number 12 with Minnesota to take Malik Willis.
And what are they giving up?
It does not say. I'm going to see.
Well, then he's a moron.
I'm going to see if I can. Well, I've only got the list here. Hold on one second. I'll pull that up for you, my friend. And that's his headline: Steelers trade up for a quarterback. That isn't clickbait. But it never says. No, it doesn't say. It just says they trade up. It doesn't say what they're going to give up. So it's obviously
from 20 to 12.
Fantasy land here.
Yeah, multiple first-round picks, probably a second, all-inclusive in that deal. No, absolutely no.
Well, it says here, I'm assuming they're swapping first-round picks. It also says a 2023 second-round pick to move up to 12.
That's it?
I mean,
swapping picks in a 2023 second-rounder?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's palatable.
Let me no.
It's not realistic.
Absolutely. It's not. He's a moron. There's no way that deal goes through.
Yeah. I agree with you. Still sticking at 20.
Kevin Colbert could pull off that kind of a move, 8 spots in mid-draft for nothing more than a second-round pick next year, then we need to force him to not retire and remain forever. Put him in Masonite or something, because that's crazy. There's no. Then I would accuse him of roofying whoever he traded with, putting something in their drink because they're on drugs.
Well, the Steelers, they had to move up from 20 to 10 to get Devin Bush. And that was just in 2019. They swapped the firsts, a second rounder that was 59th overall, and in the same draft, and then a third round pick in the next draft in 2020.
And we thought that was a steal.
Yes.
To make that move. So again, this is for a quarterback. No, they're never going to happen. It's never going to happen. I won't say that. It's very unlikely that whoever is there is going to accept that deal for that kind of a move. They're going to want more draft capital than that. It is what it is. If they make it happen, and that's all it costs them, I'm less upset. Although I don't think they should give up any additional draft capital to move forward.
And you could just guess all the usual suspects that are still available if they were to move to 20. So, especially on that particular draft, Ryan Wilson, his is just a couple days fresh here, still at 20. Tyler Linderbaum, so we get a center, offensive lineman from Iowa, the one that I've been barking about the most. Desmond Ritter at 20 still with Chris Trapasso. Also, CBS Sports, we're still sticking with the same folks here. Pete Prisco, what's Pete got for us? Oh, well, let's see what quarterbacks are already off the board before we roast Pete.
God, it's not Howell.
Malik Willis to the Panthers at 6. Kenny Pickett to the Falcons at 8. He's got a couple of other trades that are in the process. Desmond Ritter is going 16 to the Saints. And that leaves the Steelers with the 4th quarterback off the board. Dum, dum, dum. Not Sam Howell, it's Matt Corral.
Matt Corral.
Because they visited with them. As soon as they visit with them, that's it. They're locked in. That's the first round pick. They get 30 visits. Oh, they'll get more because Kenny counts as a local. So Kenny doesn't go against the 30 count. But Kenny Pickett won't count against that. How do you like this one? Kyle Stackpole. All of these guys are really hot and on top of this week with their mock drafts. Trevor Penning out of Northern Iowa, who, as we know, a lot of smoke. Steelers didn't send people there, so they can't be interested. You're going to go, and there was one of the quarterbacks had a pro day the same day or whatever. So I think you're putting more of your eggs in certain baskets. Particularly, I understand when they sent the whole farm to Liberty. You're probably not looking at anybody else at Liberty. We always hear these stories of wide receivers that are playing there, and they end up getting noticed because or some other player, Mike Hilton. There's another guy. It's been noticed because they were looking at, and they drafted Senquez Golson and looked at his tape years ago. So these things happen. I'm not sure. They definitely know who Trevor Penning is. I'm not sure that he's on their radar necessarily. And at pick 20, I don't know. Is Penning a little rich there from, again, Northern Iowa, FCS school? There's always that knock. We always do this every year. And we tend to, I think, over-evaluate or overestimate where the FCS players end up getting drafted. And they almost always end up being much lower than what we're guessing at.
Yeah. It's just the way it works. Look, every year we get how many mock drafts? 80 billion, trillion, gazillion mock drafts. How many of them are right?
Only mine.
No, that's never right. How many are right? None. Almost none. Yes, you can usually get picks 1, 2, 3, and 4 pretty close. After that, forget it.
I got Najee Harris right on my mock draft last year.
Everybody knew they were drafting Najee Harris. Come on.
Hey, I had Asante Samuel in one of my other ones. I did like 3 mocks last year. I was looking back at them. Creed Humphrey in the second round. Yo. We want to talk about our pro football wizards. Focus.
Oh God, why not? Let's talk about them and whatever crack they're smoking.
Ben, let's go first with we'll say Ben, Lindsey, And Ben Lindsey has the Steelers trading up. You want to guess? You want to guess who for?
Well, I mean, I'm assuming it's for Malik Willis, but
Trading to number 8 with the Falcons.
8.
Yes, for Malik Willis. Yes.
Oh, jeez, God.
Because the Falcons.
And what do they give up?
The Falcons are set at the quarterback position with Marcus Mariota.
Oh, yeah.
Maybe they'll bring Josh Rosen back.
Sure, they are interested. Yeah.
What did they give up? Well, the Steelers get pick number 8 overall, Brian. That's what they get. They give up 20 in this draft, 138, and then their 2023 first rounder.
Again, that's not going to be enough to move that high. You're talking 12 spots and into the top 10. No, what? Okay.
I don't have that chart up with the values, but I'm sure that's what I'm sure it's
not
off.
enough. It's not enough. Look at what the Saints just did. It's not enough
for 2 spots, right? Was it 2 or 3? Yeah, they were at 18, 19,
it's
and
like
now they're
crazy.
up to 16.
There's no way in on this earth that happened.
That's a pretty good thing to bring up too. Was, and I'd mentioned this years ago. I mentioned it with the Browns when they had like 3 first-round picks, and then all of these guys, their contracts are going to hit at the same time, which is happening. Like we're in the midst of all that, and they were saying that that's the reason the Eagles did this type of deal, because they don't. If you hit on all of these, then you got to pay all these guys, or you lose one of these guys. It's probably better to push one of those first-round picks off to next season, and. Pretty smart, I think so. Anyways, and they still got a boatload of like capital to build their team, and those rookie contracts. They're not getting the wide receiver money.
Yeah,
and I'll be talking about this with Flash, and everybody seems like so surprised. What was it? Was it Filipponi that said this now about Deontay Johnson and what he wanted? Was he saying $20 million a year or something like that? Now it was up from 15 or whatever. Like if you believe he's like a top 10, top 15, Christian Kirk has made the world stupid. And you've got Tyreek Hill getting big bucks, and people restructuring contracts. Brandon Cooks now, who had next year or whatever, it was taken off, and now it's put back in and for more money. And Deebo Samuel just erased like everything on social media. This is like what the kids do these days. They're like, I am mad with my current team. I'm going to delete
Didn't give me what I want
yet.
I shun you. I shun you.
And there's people who pay attention to this stuff, and I don't know who they are and how they find time to do it, but God bless them. Anyways, let's see. Oh no, did I click on the same one twice? No, this is I will give him credit. This is a couple weeks ago, but still, Michael Renner, Pro Football Focus, staying with this. Oh no, this was just featured here. Pick 20 did not move. He says Mitchell Trubisky is not the future. Kenny Pickett can be. The Panther legend stays home and gets a chance to compete for the job day one. I don't know that Pickett. I think most people have Pickett number 1. Maybe somebody falls in love with Willis and his ability, and if they do feel he's raw or needs development. I think all these guys would need some type of development. I don't know that anybody's just jumping in. But there's been arguments that Pickett might be the most pro-ready guy. Does he have enough of a body of work to show that? I don't know. Does that mean that he might fall to 20? Yes. Does it seem plausible with the way everybody makes runs on court? All it takes is one quarterback to get picked. There's going to be phones ringing for trades too. It's just, I just see this being another one of these drafts where everybody goes gung-ho on this. You may have 5 guys go in the first round. I don't know. There's enough needs. There's always needs for quarterback, Brian. It seems like every year you have at least 4 new head coaching spots and 4 new quarterback spots. It's the way the league works.
Always.
Yes.
Look, I don't dislike Kenny Pickett. I think he was an awesome, fantastic college quarterback last year. I'm sorry. Hand size matters for quarterbacks. It just does. And you got teeny tiny hands. I'm not interested. I will pass. Let him go be a Hall of Famer with somebody else and prove me wrong. I pass.
This one's kind of interesting on this same draft. Malik Willis goes 6th to the Panthers. There are 3 offensive tackles taken in the top 5. And Trevor Penning ends up going 9th to the Seattle Seahawks in this one. It's at 4 in the top 10. So if there's people that are like, hey, go get a tackle, this is the reason they're going to probably roll with Chukwuekorfor and Dan Moore, or there might be somebody else added to the mix as a late round swing tackle type. We'll be getting to that with some more mocks. Brad Spielberger, also Pro Football Focus. got the coffee in my hand. I can't do the scrolling here. He does not go quarterback. We didn't get a fresh name here though. Tyler Linderbaum. No fresh name. So
I will not even mock that pick. Other than at this point, they've got interior linemen coming out of their butts.
I mean, maybe if you believe that Green and Daxton are going to be capable, or if Cole you feel is a starter, but they've got options.
I feel
probably
like
more than last year.
Cole is valid as a potential starter. Daniels is absolutely valid as a potential starter, and I think it's really then it becomes an issue of do Green and Daxton battle for a guard position and who wins, and if that's the case, I think you've got a better interior offensive line. Look, would I be happy? Look, do I think any of these guys is a long-term solution at center that they have currently? I'm not sold that Kendrick Green can't be that guy, but I'm also not sold that he can be. So the answer is no. Not convinced any of these guys is a long-term solution at center. And that is the heart and soul of your line, right? If you don't have strength in that position, your offensive line is always going to be weak. So if they can draft Linderbaum, I'm all in. Do I think that's where they go? Probably not. But I'm not going to count it out. I was saying that a while ago. I love that kid. I think it would be awesome.
Yeah, initially the first name that popped off the board to me, that was before free agency. This is the beauty of where the Steelers often they double dip.
Yep.
So they could double dip at quarterback, get a veteran, get a free agent, get your draft pick. The same thing maybe with center. If you believe Cole is going to compete at center, I'm kind of wishy-washy on that. I feel like he's maybe more. He's like a tweener from maybe a starter or.
He absolutely is a tweener.
Yes,
he's a tweener.
And a one of those master or jack of all trades.
Jack of all trades, master of none.
Yes, got it. PFF here. I forgot who I was talking about. Spielberger.
Yeah,
sounds like Steven Spielberger.
Well, do we have a PFF Sam?
Well, there is a Sam, but it's not the Sam that we strongly dislike. So,
yeah, I want to mock his, whatever it is. I don't care if he takes the pick I want him to make. I still want to mock.
We can mock him without. He'd probably pick an edge rusher because he doesn't feel the Steelers have one.
Yeah, I'd just say, screw you, Sam. You just hell with it.
Over the last 3 seasons, Linderbaum has been PFF's number 1, and number 5 highest graded center in the country. It's entirely possible a team ignores positional value, takes a very good football player in Linderbaum earlier, but top center prospects tend to get snatched up around pick 20 over the past few years, which is what I said, and he's probably the only one that's going to go if he goes in the first round. We got a Steve Palazzo. And Steve Palazzo also with Pro Football Clowns Focus. And at number 20, Trevor Penning, Northern Iowa. So someone else putting a tackle in there.
I would love it if they took a tackle. I would love it if Trevor Penning is there. I don't think he will be. And they don't have a history of taking tackles in the first round. So
what do we always say this is about? It's about the quarterbacks, the guys who protect them, and the guys that go after them.
Yep.
So you're going to see tackles, quarterbacks, and probably defensive end or outside linebacker / edge rusher.
And I'm going to make a statement about this. There is a reason that the Steelers don't take tackles often in the first round, and it's because of where they draft. The primary first-round target tackles are gone by the time they draft in most circumstances. That's why they don't spend capital to reach for what would be a second or third round guy in their mind in the first round. Does it mean they sometimes miss out on guys? Absolutely, because other people may overvalue them. Nonetheless, that's part of the reason. I think the Steelers absolutely will draft a tackle if value falls at that position to them.
Yeah. This is what they had to say. Or Mike Renner, I should say, he's quoting another person at Pro Football Focus, says, Penning's tape at Northern Iowa looks like someone's dad subbed into a Pop Warner game. So he likes him a lot. It all depends. I mean, people are looking at that competition. They're going to say the same thing about Ritter, obviously. Yeah. Same things were said about even Trubisky way back when. Playing at North Carolina, how many games did you start? How many games did you play? How many games did you have success? That's some of the knock on Kenny Pickett as well with the ACC. We have Austin Gill is my last one from Pro whatever we call this site. I like to poke fun at them. And the Steelers are not picking at 20, Brian.
Down?
They have traded with the Las Vegas Raiders, who take Desmond Ritter here at number 20. The Steelers are sending this first-round pick, next year's first-round pick, and a third-round pick for Derek Carr.
Go jump off Look, where's my... I don't even know what to say about that idiocy. Get the hell out. What the hell? 2 first-round picks and a third for Derek Carr? Kiss my grits.
And that's going to happen so they can add him as the 4th quarterback on this roster. Instead of waiting out until next year. They're going to mortgage the future instead of waiting out till next year for him to just be a free agent if he doesn't fit in with Josh McDaniels.
What's this guy's name who just did this draft?
Austin Gale. Does he have his little Twitter
Austin
handle
Gale?
here?
Let me just give you some advice, Austin Gale. Crack his whack, yo.
Now this one was pre-free agency, I believe. So we can at least make fun of that one just because it's just so out there, man. Let's see what I got here. We've got the Draft Network, and we've got a handful of folks. We got some ridiculous ones coming up still, too. But this one in particular, Joe Marino, I've been reading his stuff for a little while. Daxton Hill, safety out of Michigan. Now, that's an interesting one because we've been talking about the Honey Badger and how the Steelers have a need at this position. Will they draft someone to just insert right in there?
I like it. I don't hate it. I like it. I'm okay with this. Depending on what else is on the board, safety is definitely a need. There's no question about it. Unless something else happens in between now and then.
Chris Olave still on the board 2 picks later to the Packers.
I'm out. If Chris Olave is still there and they don't take him, I'm out.
Yeah, Jahan Dotson, Penn State might be sneaking in here. So it's interesting to see where people place him as well. And let me see the next 2 folks with the Draft Network pick accordingly. Still at pick 20, so they don't move, they don't trade. Malik Willis, Kenny Pickett. Nothing original there. That's Brentley Wiseman and a one Damian Parson. So still within like the last week or so of mock drafts. And as a catch up, there's a website called Tankathon, and they're fun.
Tankathon.
Yes, Tankathon. They're always keeping track of the NFL draft order, and they put up this mock draft. It was updated 13 days ago. It's about as basic as you could get here, Brian. It just says team needs are factored into the mock. But they update draft orders after every game, and it's called Tankathon because they pretty much monitor where the Jaguars are going to be picking each year. Anyways, it's a very interesting draft because Aiden Hutchinson isn't going number 1 overall to the Jaguars. That's pretty interesting. Malik Willis, number 8. Linderbaum goes 12th to the Vikings. Garrett Wilson right after that, 13th. Kenny Pickett, 16th to the Saints. But are they calling this a trade here? They got the Colts logo in here. So there may be some shenanigans going on where people are moving around even more than what they already have. Trevor Penning, 19th. They have the Saints in here again. So it must be. It doesn't explain anything, unfortunately. It's just the names and some like random logos thrown in here. But the Steelers logo is all by itself. So I think there hasn't been a move made by Tankathon here for Matt Corral.
I see. So where did either one of the D lines from Georgia go, Wyatt or Davis?
Let me see. Davis is gone at 17 to the Chargers, so a few picks ahead. And trying to find, and Wyatt is still on the board, as was Chris Olave. So yeah, Olave still to the Packers and Javonte Wyatt to the
when all of these guys who
Cardinals.
pick quarterback and they pick a D lineman, when all that happens, I'm just gonna laugh.
One of my favorite ones that usually mock and most people that are of the draft Twitter types do as well. Walter Football. You're probably familiar. The website looks a little more like Craigslist got some color to it. It's one of the more, yeah, it's one of the more interesting ones. They're so stuck in the Stone Age here with their website design that you have to click next in order to get the next few, and it's not because it's full of ads. But they do have Malik Willis picked here at 20. Rumors are the Steelers like Malik Willis. I'm shocked. They've traded up for players they've coveted before, so they may do so in this case, but they really need a solution at quarterback. And no, Mitchell Trubisky does not count. He was signed for insurance purposes. That old bridge gap, yeah, it'd be good enough to win some games until the other guy could win games type deal. Malik Willis has a huge arm and great mobility, but struggles to process information and see the field very well. Still, he could rise through the draft process and enter top 10 consideration. Who else is still around? Trevor Penning was still around here. Chris Olave goes all the way to 26th on this one. I've heard some interesting things with him, too. Wyatt goes 31st to the Bengals. I mean, it's some interesting stuff. Yeah, you ain't lying. And I think maybe our most favorite mock that we may not mock, and it's an interesting headline here. The 2022 NFL mock draft. Pittsburgh Steelers select Chris Olave. The Pittsburgh Steelers give franchise quarterback Mitchell Trubisky a nice weapon with the 20th pick in our Pride of Detroit community mock draft. This is an SB Nation site for the Detroit Lions. And they seem to have maybe more of a grip on some things than others do. So
I'm not going to mock this at all. Look, do they pick first-round draft? We've talked about this. The last time they picked a first-round wide receiver was Santonio Holmes, who happened to be from the Ohio State University. Look, I'm going to tell you that I don't want them to pick a wide receiver from Ohio State until next year, at which point I want them to take Jackson Smith and Jigba. But I also want them to take C.J. Stroud. So, that's kind of a combination move there, and there's no way they can get them both. If they take Chris Olave at that point in the draft, first of all, I don't think he's going to be there. So if he is and they take him, I'll do a happy dance. Not as much probably as Mr. Zach Celedonia will, since he's all about the wide receivers. But
he's all about Malik Willis and particularly Willis.
Oh well, fair enough.
About the quarterbacks this year.
Well, see, that just okay. Well, he's young.
I don't know if he there's no visor game there. By the way, the person in charge of making the pick here for this prideofdetroit.com site, he goes, it's hard to argue the value of Olave at this pick, but they need to have a plan for adding him. He says Olave would challenge Anthony Miller for slot duties. I don't know that that's a challenge whatsoever. Is there a problem translating to the pro game there? I don't think so. I've watched enough of Olave in all of the last few years. With us watching the Buckeyes, I'd be jumping around doing a little dance myself for this one. The question is, can Trubisky get him the ball now and in the future? I would think if you're going to put him, whoever goes in the slot, Trubisky's not going to have a problem finding Pat Freiermuth, Najee Harris, and maybe some shorter intermediate routes out of the slot. It's going to be the boundaries. It's going to be deep ball, big play type stuff. But he goes, there's some pretty big unknowns. I wouldn't be surprised if Cincinnati's Desmond Ritter's in the mix here for Pittsburgh. Safety is also a glaring need. But with Daxton Hill off the board, the pick prior to this one, I don't see the Steelers reaching for one of the next guys. And, of course, Kyle Hamilton was gone pretty early on this one as well, 4th to the New York Jets. So that's a name maybe to keep on your roster watch. We'll have some more mocking of the mock drafts, and we got more draft stuff. Myself and the Flash are going to talk defense because we talked offense last week. So we're going to take a look at all of that, and then we're going to put it all together and see what the Steelers' team needs are. Maybe we have a whole bunch of talking heads on the screen at the same time, besides us two. And that would be myself, Joe Kuzma, and one Mr. Brian E. Roach. Brian, thanks for joining me once again, joining all of us, taking some time out of your busy schedule. We're getting
always
closer,
happy
buddy.
To.
We're getting closer.
Yeah, what is it? What is today? The 8th? Got what, 12 days? Is it 20th? It's draft on the 20th? I can't remember what day.
Got about 3 weeks there.
3 weeks?
Oh, yeah. Wow. Yeah. Well, it'll be on the 20th or 28th. 28th.
So 20 days.
Yeah.
Yeah, almost 3 weeks.
Depends where you're at. If you're somewhere else across the world, it might be 19 days. And depending on when you're listening to this, if you're catching this show a few days late, it might be 17 days. So we're getting close.
Well, I get that. It's fine. Right. But right now, in this moment of time, it's 20 days away.
try not to confuse. There's plenty of confused people doing these mock drafts as it is. I try not to confuse people anymore. And they all don't agree with each other on like what Malik Willis can and can't do. And
Mister, I'm going to trade everything for Derek Carr. Clearly.
No, God, no. I don't know if people put that out there just to be, I don't know. You know why they do it. They want clicks and views. So do we. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. We'll get more of this good stuff with us later as our schedule and also technical issues get ironed out. So hopefully we don't have any more of those as well. So don't forget to do those great things for us. A little bit of a shorter abbreviated episode, and we'll be back next week on the Horn as per the usual with all of your favorite programming. Maybe we get an hour and a half of Brian with his insanity picks, and we'll see how he could break the draft simulations software. Who are you using these days? Is it Pro Football Network now, or?
I vacillate between the Draft Network and PFF for the simulators. I'm out on the What You Hoocher one that I used to use.
That one's kind of it's
too old now.
Janky.
It needs to be updated.
Yeah, it really is. But Pro Football Focus is all over the place too. Last year just drove me insane. Although Creed Humphrey was there in the second round as I mocked him, but alas, I don't hang on these things like other people do. I'll bring it up every so often, but Najee Harris, I'm totally cool with what happened last year. So we'll see if we're cool with it this year until we get to that. Until next time. Folks, my name's Joe. His name's Brian. We encourage everyone out there to be safe, be good, and we'll catch you later.
We would like to thank you for listening and remind our listeners to follow us on social media and our website, www.steelcityunderground.com.